Ojo was a very successful music superstar from Nigeria with most top music awards on his shelf and effortlessly filling all top global arena during his live performances. He commanded so much authority in the secular music industry, but he was not always this wealthy. Often at a young age, music became his sole companion and he soon rose through the rank to become the music director of his local church. His music was really blessing lives. But then, his life would take a different direction when his childhood friend and former member of his church choir, Toby, returned back from the city. Just a couple of months later, he had become wealthy suddenly. It was he who introduced him to secular music. Even though he was initially hesitant, the words of encouragement from Eva, his fiancée, spurred him on to give secular music a try, and he followed Toby back to the city of Lagos to learn the secret of his trade. Sir Kingsley, owner of K&B record label, developed an instant interest in Ojo and promised to sign him into his record label with the promise of a house, car and 100 million naira to be paid to his bank account, but with the condition he must first deliver a hit song for the record label. But then, when all the songs he dropped for the record label failed and facing rejection, he ran to Toby for help and he introduced him to the Veil Keepers, an occultic society who helped him excel in his music career, and he became rich. Eva soon moved in to live with him in his mansion in Lagos, and she soon got pregnant for him and delivered a bouncing baby boy. Ojo could not contain his joy, but in the midst of this celebration, trouble was looming around the corner. Ojo and all the new members were summoned by the Keepers. It was time they each must make a sacrifice to the Great One to become a full member of the secret society. Each of the new members was made to peer into a mirror, but instead of seeing their own reflection, they would see someone very close and dear to them. This relative in the mirror was to be the sacrificial lamb that must be sacrificed before the Great One. When it was the turn of Ojo, he too looked into the mirror, but the figure that appeared made his shoulder drop in sorrow. A cold shiver ran down his spine as he struggled to fight back the hot tears welling up his eyes. The figure that has been conjured up was his newborn child. All the new members were given exactly 3 days to provide these people before the Great One, or they will face the consequences. Soon the meeting was over and everyone went back home. Ojo was very sad. He could not contain his emotion anymore and he started crying profusely. By this time, Eva was very worried and confused. She wondered what was causing Ojo to show such emotion of great grief. Baby, what is the matter? Did you hear any bad news? Why are you so sorrowful? She queried with a worried look on her face while looking at him searchingly. Ojo wept even further. He opened his mouth, but no words came out, just hot tears streaming down his face. By this time, Eva was totally devastated and don't really know what to do anymore. She just kept on pushing Ojo to tell her what the problem could be. But Ojo just could not bring himself to tell her the terrible things he had been mandated to do by the Keepers. So he lied to her that he was sorrowful because he had lost a big endorsement deal running into millions of naira. And Eva consoled him that he should take heart, that a better deal would come. But then, Eva suspected that her husband was not telling her the whole truth. All the same, she just hoped she was wrong and that Ojo was telling her the truth. All through the night, Ojo could not sleep. He was tossing back and forth on his bed with 1,000 thoughts running through his mind. He was deep in regret at the path he had taken in his quest for fame and wealth, and in which he could turn back the ends of time. Sacrificing his newborn child was the least he was willing to do. The following morning, Ojo ran back to Toby to pour his heart out to him. Toby listened as Ojo complained bitterly that this was not what he bargained for from the beginning, that he was not ready to sacrifice his newborn child to their occultic group, and he wanted to know if there was any way he could avoid the sacrifice that has been demanded of him. For a while, Toby was silent, and after some time, he replied to him.
My friend, first, I'm really unhappy that you had to provide your child to the gatekeepers. But just know you are not alone. All of us have at one time or the other sacrificed a loved one to the great one. Even I had to provide my father to sacrifice to get to where I am today. But be rest assured that once you make this sacrifice, that will be the end of your money worries. Meanwhile, I must remind you that there's nothing you can do other than to provide your child. You can't even run away, since the gatekeepers will look for you and find you, and you will face the consequences.
He told him. Ojo shook his head in great sorrow. If he had known that his own blood would be requested by the gatekeepers, he would not have agreed to join them in the first place. Toby had lied to him that he will not shed any blood. Yet, here he was, under a strict mandate to take the life of his own child. Ojo left Toby's place, dissatisfied, angry, and even more confused than when he went there. Back at home, he started brainstorming as to the best thing to do to get out of this mess he was in. But he could not get any clear idea of what to do, which made him even more sorrowful. And to clear his brain, he took a bottle of wine and started drinking just to forget his sorrow. Eva, who had been quietly observing all that was going on, could tell that something was troubling her husband greatly, and she pressed him to tell her what the problem could be. Sweetheart, why are you hiding things away from me? I can tell that you are greatly troubled, but you don't want to tell me. Am I not your other half? If you cannot confide in me, then who else will you confide in? She asked him, while sobbing softly. For a while, Ojo was silent, like someone thinking of the best response to provide. Anyway, after thinking for some time, Ojo finally opened up to Eva.
Sweetheart, I have been given 3 days to sacrifice our only child to the gatekeepers. They said I must make this sacrifice to maintain my membership with them and to ensure more open doors and breakthrough in my career.
Ojo dropped the bombshell with the tears flowing freely down his face. Eva placed both hands on her head. What her husband just told her hit her really hard. She was fully aware of the initiation of Ojo into the secret society. In fact, she was the one who encouraged him to take that route. She knew a demand may be placed on him, but never in her widest imagination could she have ever believed that her only child would be demanded for the sacrifice. She too started crying profusely. There the child was, sleeping peacefully in his crib, completely unaware its life was hanging by a thread. After crying for some time, Eva stopped crying. She wiped her tears with a handkerchief. So, sweetheart, when are you sacrificing the baby? Eva demanded. Ojo was taken aback by this statement from Eva. He just could not believe his ear. He thought he did not hear her correctly, and when he did not reply, Eva asked him the same question again. And to this, Ojo quickly rebuked her.
What makes you think that I will sacrifice our only child? Ah, never. It won't happen. I'm ready to disobey the gatekeepers, even if it will cost me my life. I'm ready to bear the consequences.
He told her intelligently, with the look of firm resolve written all over his face. Well, Eva was not satisfied with Ojo's decision. Sweetheart, you must make this sacrifice. I don't want to lose you. Do you want me to become a widow? If you die, who will take care of me and the baby? It's better you sacrifice this child to guarantee greater wealth for us. Besides, we have so many years ahead of us to raise as many children together as we want, she told him in a firm tone while tapping him on the shoulder. Ojo was really angry with Eva, wondering what demon had taken over her. He stormed out of the house to a bar nearby and started drinking to cool his brain before he would lose his temper. That evening, the silence was very loud, ever wept all through the night. Ojo could not sleep either, with so many conflicting thoughts running through his mind. Clearly, he was not ready to sacrifice his child, but at the same time, he could not bear to see his lover in pains. And so, after thinking the whole thing over all through the night, he finally decided to go with Eva's suggestion. Eva was really delighted when Ojo told her he was ready for the sacrifice. She gave him more words of encouragement, spurring him on that there was nothing for him to be afraid of. The next day, being the deadline Igbudu had gave to him and the rest of the new members to provide the sacrificial lamp, Ojo took the newborn baby and drove back to Igbudu's place. And just as before, it was a full house. Everyone was present for the meeting. All the new members, once again, dressed in white robe, had each come with the relative who had appeared in the mirror during their initiation 3 days earlier. All the sacrificial lamps were blindfolded and tied with rope in another dark room. The climax of this meeting was the sacrifice of these people to the Great One. One after the other, each of the new members was made to kneel before the Great One. They were told to make any request they wanted, and the Great One would grant it to them. After they each made this supplication, the family member this person brought will be brought out, and a long knife given to this new member, paying a deaf ear to their screams. This person will tear up the sacrificial lamp while still alive and pull out the axe while the person scream on and pass away. He must present the axe on a platter before the Great One without showing any sign of remorse. When it was the turn of Ojo, he too knelt down at the altar. His request was pretty straightforward.
Great One, I want you to make me the greatest musician from this country. Let me become weighty beyond measure.
He demanded, with a look of shrewd determination written all over his face. After this, just like the rest of the new members, a knife was handed to him, along with the newborn baby. He raised the knife, and with teeth clenched tightly, he smote the child and took out the axe, just as the rest did, and presented it before the altar. Once this was done, the white robe they wore to the meeting was torn off, and a similar robe of black and red was given to them to wear. The white robe they wore initially symbolized a state of innocence, but since they have taken a life, they were clearly far from being innocent and were now better prepared for the dark road ahead. And after doing some rituals, all the arts that has just been presented before the Great One were cut into smaller pieces, and all the members of the veil keepers ate it raw and drank the blood presented along with it. Soon the meeting was over, and everyone went back to their various homes. Ojo arrived back home with a heavy weight of guilt on his conscience. He opened a bottle of wine and started gulping it. Eva knew exactly why her husband was sorrowful. Sweetheart, please stop crying and let's just hope for the best. God will give us another child in place of this one we just lost. Well, these words of encouragement really suited the heart of Ojo. But then, there was still a problem. They knew they must report the sudden disappearance of their child to the authority to prevent any form of suspicion. So that very day, Ojo and Eva rushed down to the nearest police station to lay a complaint. Eva was crying profusely and refusing to be comforted. She reported that her newborn child was missing, that early that day she would stop by at a supermarket to get some groceries. She left the child in a babysitter in the car and rushed back to pick up something, only to return to an empty car. Her child had disappeared into thin air, she explained to the officers while crying profusely. The officers clearly blamed Eva for her negligence, but then no amount of blame would bring back the child, and they promised to try their best to recover the missing child. Ojo thanked the officers and promised the sum of 20 million naira to whoever could help him find his missing child. after which he escorted his crying wife out of the police station back for home. The news of Ojo missing child quickly went viral all over social media, with all top blogs talking about it. Also, with the promise of 20 million naira for whosoever could provide meaningful information as to the child whereabouts, triggered even more interest in the case. But in all this, the public could not help but feel pity for Ojo and Eva. Little did they knew exactly what happened to their child. Eventually, all the investigation by the police led to a dead end. Even though Ojo was very unhappy about what he did, something was very clear. He was seeing the result of the sacrifice he did. He was becoming more popular by the passing day. Any new song he dropped was gaining so much attention from everyone. He was fast becoming one of the biggest names in the music world, and with this attention came with so much wealth and global recognition. He was nominated for all major music awards, which he won effortlessly, which made him really happy. He also started hosting shows both within the country and even outside of the country, and all the tickets for each shows were always sold out even before the day of the show. But despite this great wealth he had amassed, he did not allow it to get into his head. Even though a lot of ladies were all coming around him, each trying to win him for themselves, yet he still loved Eva, his girlfriend, so much. In fact, he made sure that all the money he made from his numerous brand endorsement deals were paid directly into her bank account, and this made Eva so happy. She was living her best life and swimming in untold wealth. But in all this, something else was beginning to give Ojo great concern. He was having some strange experiences. He was seeing his dead child in his dream. The child was always covered in blood with a big hole in his chest and crying profusely. He would wake up terrified and sweating profusely. He knew this was not a good sign. The spirit of his child, whose life he had so gruesomely taken, was beginning to torment him, and he would complain to Eva about the terrible nightmare he was having. But then, Eva just could not see the seriousness of the whole thing. Baby, you never cease to amaze me. Is it because of ordinary dream that you are shaking like a leaf? Come on, you are seeing the dead child because you are always thinking of what you did. Just try to take your mind out of that incident and the nightmare would stop. She would advise him. But then, as the time passed, the whole ordeal only became worse. Sometimes he would hear the cry of the baby. Even when he was wide awake, much to his horror, Ojo ran back to Toby to complain to him about all he was facing. After listening to Ojo, Toby advised that he must go back to Igbudu for a solution to this problem. Igbudu listened as Ojo narrated the unpleasant experiences he was facing. Igbudu did not say anything. He motioned him to follow him back into his shrine. He started speaking some strange incantation, and after a while he stopped. Turning to Ojo, he started.
My son, the spirit of your dead son is after your life. We must cage it before it is too late.
He started with a grim face.
But for us to do that, you must make a very vital sacrifice. And you have two options to choose from. It's either you sacrifice Eva, your girlfriend, for the ritual, or you must donate your manhood to the Great One. Once this ritual is done, you will become invisible, and that will be the end of your troubles.
He told him, hitting the nail on the head. Ojo just could not believe his ear. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Just several worried thoughts running through his mind. The options he had been presented with were truly hard nuts to crack. There was no way he was sacrificing Eva. He loved her so much. And also, donating his manhood was also a no, no, no. If he obey, how is he going to give birth to children that will inherit his vast wealth? These and many different disturbing thoughts ran through his mind at the same time. And as if reading his mind, Igbudu continued.
Well, I will advise you to go back home and think it over. Once you are ready for the sacrifice, let me know.
He told him, with which he dismissed him. Back at home, Ojo was very sorrowful and confused. All the same, whenever asked him how his meeting with Igbudu went, he could not bring himself to tell her the whole truth. So he told her just half of the truth, that he had been told to sacrifice his manhood as the only solution to the problem he was facing. But to his surprise, Eva felt it was not that much of a big deal for him to do the ritual. But honey, if this is the only solution to this problem, why don't you just do the ritual? I'm afraid of losing you, she told him with a worried look on her face, while tapping him gently on the shoulder. To this, Ojo refused bluntly. He was not donating his manhood for anything. Ojo's stand on this matter was very clear, and Eva did not push it any further. Little did Eva know that the only reason she was still breathing was because of the love Ojo had for her. Ojo refused to do the sacrifice and was just managing the situation, but then, as time passed, the terrible experiences only grew worse. One night, during one of his live performances, something happened that would shake Ojo to his very roots. The whole arena was packed full and teemed with eager fans. Ojo made his dramatic appearance, which was synonymous with his live performances. By this time, the crowd was over the moon. His band, made up of world-class instrumentalists and singers, were already playing the instrumental of one of his hit songs. With the crowd screaming from excitement, Ojo smiled. He brought the microphone to his mouth. He sang into it, but to his surprise, no sound came out from his mouth. He first thought it was a technical error, but when he tried singing into the microphone one more time, something very strange happened. A raging headache hit him. He held his head with both hands, with his eyes squeezed tight, trying so much to compose himself in front of the thousands of people who had come out to see him. He opened his eyes, but what happened next was surreal. He looked at the people, but instead of seeing a crowd of excited fans, what he saw, seated on each of the chairs, was his dead child. The apparition had appeared before him in the exact same way he had been seeing it in his dream, covered in blood, with a big hole in his chest, with his heart missing. The child was screaming, and immediately the whole arena started wailing around him, and that was all he could remember. He later woke up in the hospital. Eva was seated by his side. He told him that he had fainted at the arena after screaming and muttering some incoherent words, and he had been in a coma for the past 3 days. Soon the head doctor came to run some check on Ojo, and he was soon discharged and free to go home. Back at home, Ojo was very much deep in thought and very worried. Even Eva could tell that all was not well. Ojo told Eva everything that happened to him at the just concluded concert. Clearly, his dead child was haunting him, and it was getting very serious. Honey, I have told you before to go ahead with the ritual, since that is the only solution to these strange experiences. Is it not just your manhood that the Great One is demanding? What is the big deal there? Don't worry, I'm ready to stay with you, even without a manhood. We will both find a solution to that later. But for now, it's best you do the ritual for our own safety, Eva told him softly, while tapping him gently on the shoulder. Ojo was very much deep in thought, and after much thought, he finally decided to go ahead with the ritual. Even though he had the option to use Eva for the ritual, he decided to use his manhood rather. He was not ready to take any more life in his quest for wealth and power. Even though this was a very bitter pill for him to swallow, yet he could not see any better alternative. Ojo ran back to the gatekeepers for the ritual. Some rituals were performed on him, and true to the promises of Igbudu, the terrible nightmare and strange cry in his ears stopped completely. But then, clearly, this has come at a greater price. His manhood was completely lifeless. Even though he was happy that this strange occurrence was gone. Yet here he was, faced with a new kind of torment. All the same, he knew this was a cross he must carry because of the path he had chosen. Anyway, Ojo poured his heart into his music, and his words grew faster than ever. He was always traveling from one country to another to host his live shows and to collaborate with other top artists from other countries. It was on one of his trips back to Nigeria that something happened that would break his heart into 1,000 places. Ojo had cut one of his trips short and returned back into the country on an ass. He was missing Eva greatly, and he wanted to spend some time with her and travel with her for his next trip. He soon got home, but the whole place seemed locked up. But then, all the cars were parked neatly in the garage, which left Ojo wondering where Eva could have gone to. Without taking a car, anyway, he opened the main door with one of the spare key, and soon he was in the living room. He walked towards their bedroom, and that was when it dawned on him that something was seriously wrong. Hey, before we jump right back into our story, I'm so excited to announce to you that we just started our family shining here on YouTube, where we cook our African food and share our lifestyle. I will be so delighted if you subscribe to this channel and engage on the videos. The channel is Mr. Office Family Show. I will leave a link to it in the comment section. Meanwhile, today massive hug goes to Ngozi watching from Nigeria and Catherine watching from England. Thank you so much for the love and support. Where are you watching us from? Share it with us in the comment section so I can send you a hug in the next episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and leave a like on this video. Alright, back to our story. Ojo walked towards their bedroom, and that was when it dawned on him that something was seriously wrong. He could hear some noise coming from his bedroom, as if two people are in a heated argument. Much to his bewilderment, he ran to his bedroom to see what the matter could be. The door to the bedroom was left ajar, but when he peeked into his bedroom, the sight that greeted his eyes made him stop dead in his track. On the bed was a handsome young man with a fine physique, pounding away at the love of his life. Eva was screaming to the moon in pure pleasure. Ojo's jaw dropped in total disbelief. He pinched himself to ascertain he was not having a bad dream. Eva soon noticed the presence of Ojo. Her eyes almost popped out of his socket. She ran out of the bedroom after Ojo, who had left angrily back for the living room. The young man who was with Eva had taken to his heel. He knew how powerful and influential Ojo was, and if he called the authorities on him, he would rot in jail. Ojo could not describe the raging emotion washing through him. He took a bottle of wine and started gulping it. His eyes, red from anger, Eva fell down on her knee and started pleading with him while crying profusely. Sweetheart, please forgive me. This is my first time cheating on you. In the past couple of months, I have been having this burning desire for a man's touch, but I did not know how you will feel if I open up to you. I'm really sorry. I promise this won't repeat itself, she told him while crying and rolling on the floor. Ojo did not reply to her. He just kept gulping his wine, with bitter tears of frustration mixed with anger flowing down his face. After some time, he composed himself and finally spoke to her.
I can't entirely blame you for what just happened. I will also blame myself for failing to satisfy you. Let me find a way to get my manhood back so we can have a happy future together.
He told her. Eva embraced Ojo from behind, and they both wept together like babies. But then, even though Eva showed so much emotion of remorse outwardly, deep down, she was very happy. Never in her wildest imagination could she have believed that Ojo would forgive her so easily after catching her red-handed. Indeed, Ojo was blinded by love. She thought to herself with cunning smile playing by the corner of her lip. Ojo soon started brainstorming as to what to do to gain his manhood back. He did not care about the massive wealth he was enjoying any longer. He knew nothing good would ever come out from him joining the Veilkeepers. In fact, his being a member of these occultic sects have done more harm to him than good. He had lost his only child to them. Now his manhood had followed suit. He knew things could only get darker from this point forward if he did not make a U-turn. But the more he thought, he just could not come up with any tangible solution to this problem. He knew contacting any of the members of the Veilkeepers for help would be a very foolish thing to do, since it would only put him in danger. But then, while Ojo was figuring a way out of this mess he was in, something else was going on. You see, even though Eva told Ojo that she had only cheated on him once, she was lying. Eva had been going out with Christopher for some time now, even before Ojo lost his manhood. She had first met Christopher some months ago at a shopping mall. She fell in love with him the moment she set her eyes on him, even though Christopher was clearly not sweaty like Ojo. Yet he had a very fine physique and was very handsome and carried himself like a prince. And the moment they started seeing each other, Christopher did not disappoint Eva in the inner room either. He was gifted with a very big odogu and he knew how to use it properly. He could go for hours without seeming to lose even a single bit of strength. Clearly, he far outperformed Ojo in this aspect, which made Eva fall in love with him even more. And to add to it, Eva just discovered she had taken in for Christopher, and nothing on earth would make Eva to leave him. And that was when some ideas started forming in her head. How about she get rid of Ojo, sell off his properties, and travel out of the country with Christopher to enjoy the rest of their life with Ojo's sweats? As dark as this idea was, this was what Eva finally made up her mind to do. She held secret meeting with Christopher on the best way to get rid of Ojo without any finger pointing back to them. And after some careful planning, both of them came up with a perfect idea. Christopher, who had a background in mechanical engineering, suggested they tamper with the brake of Ojo's car, which will eventually lead to an accident once he used that car. Meanwhile, Ojo had a very important meeting to attend that same weekend. He had just been contacted by one of the biggest brands within the country to endorse one of their products. And as usual, he told this company to pay a huge sum of money into Eva's bank account for the deal. He just needed to go there to make an official appearance and publicly endorse the product. But then, the night before the meeting, Christopher sneaked into Ojo's compound to tamper with his car brake. Getting in and out was pretty easy. Eva had given him a spare key into the compound. Christopher was very fast. He was soon done with tampering with the brakes, and he sneaked out without drawing any attention. The following morning, Ojo made preparation for the meeting. He intended to go with Eva, but Eva pretended she was sick, that she preferred to stay back at home. This really made Ojo worried. He even offered to drop her at the hospital for a proper medical checkup, but Eva declined. She told him it was nothing for him to worry about. In all this, Ojo did not suspect that something was fishy. He kissed Eva, entered into his car, and drove off for the meeting. And just as expected, on the way, his brake failed and he ran into an electric pole by the roadside. Passers-by who witnessed this unfortunate incident ran to Ojo's rescue. His car was wrecked beyond repair, but fortunately, he was still breathing. He was rushed to a nearby hospital in critical condition. He was immediately referred to a much bigger hospital with better equipment for immediate medical attention. The news of Ojo accident spread everywhere like wildfire. Eva rushed down to the hospital. The moment she learnt of this accident, she was crying profusely and refusing to be comforted. The nurses told her to hope and pray for the best. Meanwhile, Ojo was battling for his life at the emergency ward of the hospital. Even though Eva pretended to be very sorrowful, deep down, she obviously wanted Ojo dead. Anyway, after 48 hours of intense care from the doctors, Ojo's condition became stable and there was hope that he would recover. Just that the accident may leave him bound to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Even though Eva pretended to be glad that her lover had survived this accident, deep down, she was very worried. She knew if Ojo made it out of the hospital, all her plans to sell off his property and abscond with Christopher won't come to fruition. She knew she must act very fast. It was now or never. So while Ojo was at the hospital receiving intensive medical care, Eva swung into action. She listed all of Ojo property for sales, including his diamond jewelries, cars, real estate, etc. And since the price she was willing to sell for was ridiculously low compared to the true value of these properties, getting buyers was very easy and fast. But then, that afternoon, while Eva was driving off to meet with the buyers to present the documents to all of Ojo's properties, a trailer passing by the other lane failed brake. This big vehicle derailed and crashed into Eva's car. Her body was later pulled from under the trailer, lifeless and injured, almost beyond recognition. After some time, Ojo was okay and was ready to go home. It was then the news of Eva's death was broken to him. Ojo cried bitterly, wondering why the universe was so cruel to him. When Ojo finally got home and went into his bedroom, he saw a written note on his bed. Ojo, by the time you are reading this, I should be long gone. I'm in love with someone else and I'm pregnant for him. This house and all your other properties are no longer yours. I sold everything. The new owner would ask you to pack out very soon. Please try to find your feet and I wish you the best. Lest I forget, your car crash was not an accident. I and my lover tempered with your brake, but it's like you are not destined to die yet. Please forgive me. I had to do what I did, Eva. Ojo stared at the written note in total disbelief. The love of money is truly the root of all evil. In the next couple of days, Ojo was in deep personal reflection. It dawned on him just how far he had strayed in his quest for wealth, success, and global fame, and he decided to retrace his step. He could still remember how God used him to bless lives with his gospel music some years back. Even though he was not rich then, he had peace of mind. Ojo traveled back to his community to meet with the priest of his local church where he attended before moving to Lagos. The man of God listened as Ojo confessed to all the terrible things he did. The priest prayed for him and led him back to Christ. Ojo sold all that he gained through the help of the veil keepers and donated the money, which amounted to millions of dollars, to orphanages and charity organizations all through the country. He went back to singing gospel songs, and soon invitations to come minister at different churches and youth conferences kept pouring in, and every opportunity he got, he would use it to preach against the evil of quick gains and the dangers of seeking dark powers in the quest for easy success. And his personal story went on to inspire thousands of young people to be more patient and have trust in God in all they do. Even though Ojo was now confined to a wheelchair and had given away all his ill-gotten wealth, yet he was very happy. His life was beginning to make a meaning, and he was making a positive impact in the life of thousands through his music. Ojo decided to bring the members of the Vaykeepers to book. He went to the police headquarters and made his statement, confessing to all the evil he and the Vaykeepers did, and he was very ready to testify against them in court. But the Inspector General of Police called him into his office and advised him to sweep this case under the rug, since the individuals whose name he had mentioned in his report were very powerful, highly connected, and above the law. And Ojo decided to let the sleeping dogs lie. Meanwhile, the Vaykeepers were not happy with Ojo and they decided to kill him. But anytime they try attacking him, both spiritually or even physically, they will always end up losing an important member to the co-ends of death mysteriously. So they let Ojo be. And to add to his joy, his manhood soon started working once more by the mercies of God. He later fell in love with Chisom, a beautiful lady in his church who loved him despite his condition. They got married and together they gave birth to 3 children. So here bring this amazing story to a close. What did you learn from this story? Please share it with us. Thank you for watching today's episode from Anita Chocolate. Please support my work by subscribing to this channel, leave a like on this video and share it with your loved ones. Also, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you will be the first person to see our future upload and watch this other amazing story displayed on your screen while waiting for the next episode. Bye.